I'm sure other YouTubers are going to tell you that a single new card turned a trash archetype into a meta archetype, but we aren't going to do that cringe here. The archetype was already really good, but this new card increases their minimum. What I mean by that is, let's say you've got a really consistent deck with a really solid game plan, but every now and then you get a hand that can't do enough on its own. Now those awkward hands accomplish a lot more with this new support card. That's pretty much what happened with Infinitracks, but I'm getting ahead of myself. We're going to talk about what the deck actually does. The goal of this deck is to set up an untargetable and indestructible Xyz, and either sit on that protection until next turn to OTK, or OTK right then on the spot if you went second. All of the archetypes Xyz can summon themselves from grave but in defense by attributing a machine link monster. The link monster, when it leaves the field, attaches itself to one of your Xyz's material, and while it is material, that Xyz can't be destroyed by card effects. So the plan is to summon an Xyz, use that Xyz as material for our link 1, tribute the link 1 to summon our Xyz from grave, which will trigger the link to make itself material on that revived Xyz. Now that Xyz will be indestructible. We also have a continuous spell we can search for called Outrigger Extension. It stops your opponent from targeting your machine Xyz. You can also use it to rank up your machine Xyz into another machine Xyz that is 2 ranks higher. And all of the Xyz we play in this deck are 2 ranks apart from each other. We have a rank 5, a rank 7, and a rank 9. And outside of the archetype, we have a rank 11 that can make a very easy OTK happen. So basically the idea is, turn 1, summon a big fella that can't be targeted or destroyed, survive with that, and then follow up into an OTK. And going second, we do the same thing, but we just OTK without waiting. Infinitracks can be broken up into 3 groups based on similarity with each other. The first are the starters that help fuel everything else. Second is the level 5s that all either do something important in grave or on field. And third is the Xyz that are all 2 ranks apart from each other. Let's talk about all these packages so we can understand what they all aim to achieve. This deck has 2 starters, Harvester and Anchor Drill. Both of them have the effect to target another machine you control, and then both themselves and that monster's levels become equal to their combined level. For example, if you added them each together with 4 and 2, they'd both be level 6. Then if you use the other effect, it would be 6 plus 6, and they'd both equal level 12. We can definitely use those effects on each other, but we are usually hoping to use those effects on the level 5s to help us go into our archetypal Xyz. The individual effects are both on normal or special summon. Anchor Drill summons an earth machine from hand in defense, and Harvester searches an Infinitrack monster. And usually we are going to be searching for our level 5. Since Harvester can search any of our level 5s pretty easily, we can play one of each of them for whatever situation we need them for. There are 5 solid options you can play in your Infinitrack deck, those being Brutal Dozer, Trencher, Crab Crane, Tunneler, and Drag Shovel. All of them have the effect to tribute an earth machine to summon themselves from the hand. You can imagine then that by searching this with Harvester, you could potentially tribute that Harvester to summon one of these guys, or potentially the Anchor Drill. Then use whichever one you didn't tribute to target the level 5 and make their levels equal to their combined levels. If that were all these guys are good for, this deck wouldn't be very good though. It'd just be another engine that can summon an Xyz. These guys all give you some form of +1 in card advantage by summoning something else or by searching for something. Once you special summon Brutal Dozer from the hand, either by its own effect or by Anchor Drill's effect, it will summon another Infinitrack from the hand but negate its effects. Since it does negate the effect of the monster it summons from the deck, the idea is to somehow get that monster into the grave to either use a grave effect or to be resummoned from the grave. One of our grave effects actually banishes itself to resummon another Infinitrack from the grave, and that's Trencher, but it will only revive the main deck Infinitrack. Crab Crane and Drag Shovel both have on-field effects that banish a machine from grave to search a specific back row. Crab Crane searches for Outrigger Extension, and Drag Shuffle searches for Spin Turn. Outrigger Extension is a continuous spell that prevents the opponent from targeting your machine Xyz with card effects, and it also acts as sort of a rank up magic. It can upgrade one of your Infinitrack Xyz into any machine Xyz that is 2 ranks higher than itself, so it's pretty handy that all of the Infinitrack Xyz are all 2 ranks apart from each other. Spin Turn is a trap card with 2 different effects depending on what position your Xyz is in. If your Xyz is in attack mode, you can change it to defense mode to destroy one of your opponent's monsters, and if your Xyz is in defense mode, you can change it to attack mode to destroy one of your opponent's back row. This is technically inherently searchable interruption, but because it is somewhat dependent on a lot of factors that might be awkward, a lot of people choose not to play it in their Infinitrack decks. And because of that, they also don't play the Drag Shovel that searches it. But don't let what everybody else does decide what you are going to do. If you want to play this, then go ahead. It's definitely worth playing. And if you don't want to play it, it's still very understandable. After we have done all of our combos, we are going to have a bunch of earth machines in the grave. We can actually shuffle 5 of them back into the deck and draw 2 cards with the grave effect of Tunneler. This is great not only to reset your resources back into the deck to be searched again, but also drawing 2 cards helps to keep you in the game for longer. Over the course of our first turn, the chances are we are going to be able to get multiple of the level 5s going, simply because Harvester can search for him, Brutal Dozer can get him from the deck, and we have other methods of searching we could use as well that we can talk about later. We're definitely going to make use of all of the ones that we have in the deck at some point, but here are some guidelines for what you can search depending on the situation. In some form or fashion, we want to be able to get Crab Crane's effect off so that we can get Outrigger Extension to protect our Xyz from targeting effects. If you have very minimal searching capacity, then you'll make sure to search for it to use its effect, then go into the rest of your plays. If you have a way to get a Trencher in grave though, you might like to summon the Crab Crane from the deck using Brutal Dozer, somehow get the Crane in the grave so you can revive it with the Trencher and get its effect off, and likewise, if you have a way to get the Crab Crane in grave, you could summon the Trencher from deck with the Brutal Dozer, get the Trencher in grave to resummon the Crab Crane and get its effect off that way. If you have things in hand that you want in grave, but you also have things in hand that you want on the field, you could tribute one of your machines to summon the one you want in grave, and then tribute the one that you want in grave to summon the one from hand that you want on the field. If you want to play the deck using Drag Shovel and Spin Turn, there are definitely cases where you're going to be able to pull off both the Drag Shovel and the Crab Crane, but the majority of the time you're going to need to choose between them, and they both work exactly the same way, so everything I just said about getting Crab Crane's effect off is going to be the exact same thing for Drag Shovel if you decide that you prefer to get the Spin Turn rather than the Outrigger Extension. The Infinitracks Xyz all have two effects in common, and a unique effect that detaches a material. If any of them destroy a monster by battle, they can attach the destroyed monster to themselves as an Xyz material, and if they are in the grave and you have a machine Link monster on the field, you contribute that Link monster to revive themselves in defense mode. The Link monster in this archetype just so happens to be a Link one called Goliath, and if it's sent to the grave, it can attach itself as a material to an Xyz you control. And while it is a material, that monster can't be destroyed by card effects, so you could summon one of your Xyz, link it off into Goliath, revive the Xyz by tributing the Goliath, and attach the Goliath to the Xyz you revived, and it will have protection from destruction. The Link one is also pretty good for a follow-up because you could make it with any other Infinitrack, so you could turn a regular Infinitrack into the Link, revive one of your Xyz that died, give that Xyz a material that can protect it from destruction or be used to activate one of its detach effects. Riverstormer can detach a material, either search any Earth machine from deck to hand or send an Earth machine from deck to grave. Since this is a rank 5, you could make it with a Brutal Dozer and any level 5 that it summons from the deck. Mountain Smasher detaches a material to permanently gain 1000 attack. This being a rank 7 though, means it can be a nice beefy body that you can go into by using an Outrigger extension to rank up your Riverstormer. Earth Slicer can detach any number of materials to destroy an equal amount of cards on the field. That's a pretty amazing board nuke, especially for something that might be indestructible and or untargetable due to the Goliath and Outrigger extension. All of the Xyz effects are hard once per turn, so if you use the effect, linked it off, and then revived it, you wouldn't be able to use the effect again on the same turn. The general play that you make in this deck is that you make one of your Xyz, whichever is best for the situation. You might choose to use the effect, or you might not. You're going to use it as material to summon Goliath, revive itself by tributing Goliath. Goliath will attach itself to it as material, and hopefully you will have been able to get off Crab Crane's effect to get Outrigger extension to make that Xyz untargetable, alongside the Goliath making it indestructible, and you may even want to upgrade that Xyz with the Outrigger extension to one of the bigger Xyz for more protection or to make an OTK. The newly summoned Xyz will still have the protection from both Outrigger extension and Goliath. Since Earth Slicer is a rank 9, we can upgrade it to the ultimate rank 11. Super Dreadnought Rail Cannon Juggernaut Lead. This guy is an absolute monster with 4k attack, but by detaching a material, it makes itself Team 6k. You can only attack with it alone that turn. It can also attack the opponent's monsters equal to the amount of materials it has +1. So really, the opponent better not have any attack position monsters because this guy is coming in to attack for overwhelming lethal. And don't forget, with all of this damage, he is untargetable and indestructible. Earlier I mentioned that there is a decent amount of searching in this deck, and I've already talked about the Harvester that can search for any Infinitrack and Riverstorm that can search for any Earth machine, but we do have some more. The most important searcher that every Infinitrack deck needs 3 of is Heavy Forward. It's a continuous spell that simply searches any monster from the archetype, but it actually keeps going from there. You can also attach itself to a machine Xyz you control, or change your machine Xyz's battle position. Usually we care about attaching itself as a material. It can be bonus attacks for Juggernaut Leap, or it can be more destruction from Earth Slicer. Heavy Forward, being a face-up continuous spell, also opens us up to play Ancient Gear Catapult, which needs you to destroy a face-up card you control while you control no monsters, to special summon an Ancient Gear from the deck. And we could special summon Ancient Gear Wyvern from the deck, which searches an Ancient Gear card from deck to hand. We can search for Ancient Gear Box, which when it is searched outside of being drawn, it can search for any Earth machine that has either 500 attack or 500 of defense. As it happens, a decent amount of the Infinitracks actually have either 500 attack or 500 defense. Anchor Drill has 500 defense, Trencher has 500 attack, Crab Crane has 500 defense, and Tunneler has 500 defense. Searching for these without a normal summon sounds pretty good. It means your normal summon can be used more freely and you'll be able to get more plays off. Of course though, we can only play 3 heavy forward, so relying on that to be the face-up card we destroy for Ancient Gear Catapult may not be all that good of an idea, but we could also potentially play Revolving Switchyard, which can discard a card to search for a level 10 Earth Machine. We could use that to search for Heavy Freight Train, Derrick Crane, or Super Express Bullet Train, both of which have some way to special summon themselves easily in this deck. And while their levels aren't that great for Xyz plays, in this deck they can very easily be simple tribute fodder for our level 5s, or link fodder if we wanted to summon Anger Knuckle for survival plays. Revolving Switchyard being a face-up spell can be really nice destruction fodder for the Ancient Gear Catapult, but if you don't use the catapult on it and you special summon one of the level 10s it search for, then Switchyard can also special summon a Flying Pegasus Railroad Stampede from the deck, but the opponent won't take any damage if you choose to use that effect. Also, it will make the Pegasus level 10. The Flying Pegasus of course could resummon an Earth Machine from grave as well, but negate its effects, and that is a lot of special summoning going on. You might be able to see that this is quite good if you want to play through a lot of disruption. All of these outside engines that we could play in Infinitracks gives the deck a much higher ceiling and much more options, but does so at the cost of some of the deck's grind games. So if you want 2 turns of extreme power where you are going to be very likely ahead of your opponent, you can probably very easily kill them, and this variant called Earth Machine is probably something that you will want to play. That said though, the pure version of Infinitracks has a better long game because their extra deck allows them to play more copies of the Goliath, which is especially relevant against some of the grindier decks in this format, as Goliath turns any monster you summon into a follow-up play. I definitely think that the Earth Machine version of Infinitracks is something that you should definitely try out. I think it is a super scary deck to play against. Me personally though, when I'm given the choice between grind game and more power, I usually choose the grind game even if it does less, so I will be playing pure Infinitracks. But the bonuses that the Earth Machine version give, I have done my best to briefly explain how they work in this video already, and other than those benefits, the actual Infinitrack plays are pretty much the same between both decks. When you take each of the Xyz, you need to play at minimum in the deck, that being one of each archetypal Xyz and the one Liba, that's 4 extra deck slots. And then if you take the Goliath link, that's 3 extra deck slots. You could play 2 of the Goliath if you're playing the Earth Machine version, but for pure you'll definitely want 3 to play through things better, while still being able to have a follow-up play. So at least for the pure version, that's 7 extra deck slots taken. So we have 1 more slot to play with. People spend this slot differently. It's definitely a personal preference thing, so don't let anybody tell you that there's something you simply have to play in that spot. Really, you could make your own choices, but here are some choices you could go for. In pure Infinitracks or in Earth Machines, you could play Ancient Gear Box. In pure, you might think, why should I play that if I can't summon an Ancient Geared Wyvern? Well, you could search for it with River Stormer, and then let the box search for the Infinitrack you need. Then at some point, you could use the Anchor Drill to special summon the box from hand, then use the Anchor's effect targeting that box, 4 + 4 = 8. And you could summon Dingirsu for non-targeting, non-destructive removal. This deck doesn't have this type of removal inherently, but most of the time, cards that are protected from targeting and destruction aren't protected from battle, so usually Lieb can get the job done. But Dingirsu is still good to have to clear the field or to bait out interruptions. If somehow all you have available to use for Xyz plays are the Anchor Drill and the Harvester, for example if they negated Harvester with a Chalice or something, you could combine their levels to make him level 6, then go into a rank 6 play, and of course as soon as Duel Links players smell a rank 6 possibility, they can't help but go right to Beatrice to send Tackle Crusader or Farfa from deck to grave as an interruption. That's pretty good. You could also send a Breakthrough Skill or a Lost Wind on your own turn before ending your turn, so that they have value later on in a duel. So if you wanted to play with Beatrice, that's definitely an option. Me personally though, I'm not trying to brick on Tackle Crusader, so instead I would play Photon Strike Bouncer if you were looking for a rank 6 that interrupts something. It's a monster negate, and those are always nice, and it does a smidgen of burn to rub salt into the wound. Since it's so easy for this deck to go into a rank 7 by having Harvester next to a level 5, technically you could go into a number 11 Big Eye, since it's some non-destructive removal, and sometimes stealing a monster can win you the game. So here's what mine looks like. As you can see, I have 0 bricks in here. Ancient Gear Box, Tackle Crusader, anything else that is good but you wouldn't want to see in your opening hand isn't in here, because I just know that if I play him, I'm gonna open him. So I'm just playing it as safe as possible. I'm playing 3 Anchor Drill in here. A lot of people only play 1 or 2 because having it without Harvester seems like a brick to a lot of people. But even if the only other monster you have with it is a level 5, then you are gonna be able to make an Earth Slicer with it, and that ain't a bad play. Also, having it as much as possible alongside Harvester makes making the plays a lot easier. Since I'm not playing the Ancient Gear Box, I also can't play Dingirsu, and I don't want to play Beatrice either, so I'm going with the Photon Strike Bouncer. Really though, I barely ever summon anything outside of the main game plan, so it isn't that deep what your 8th slot is. The staples here can be whatever whatever you like. This deck is decent at playing through interruptions inherently, so you can take advantage of Cosmic instead of needing Lance, and Book can be whatever, but turning off interruptions and turning off plays is fantastic. So this or Chalice is basically the same, but you don't have to copy my deck list at all. You could do whatever you like with yours. In fact, in our Discord, we have an Earth Machine channel where you can talk to people that love playing this deck, maybe get some ideas from there as well. Ask questions too if you have any, so be sure to join the Discord for that. Real quick though, before we talk about some combos, check out the Prismatic Earth Slicer and Riverstorm. I didn't convert these either, I pulled them fresh. Be jealous. This deck actually gives you a lot of freedom in terms of decision making, so I'm going to be showing off some combos here to let you know what this deck is capable of. Just know that when you're actually playing the deck, you're going to find yourself in situations where you can make more decisions and make different plays depending on the situation. The very bare minimum combo requires just Harvester. Of course, you could also search the Harvester using the Heavy Forward. So you normal summon Harvester and search the Brutal Dozer. Tribute Harvester to special summon the Brutal Dozer, and on summon, Brutal Dozer can summon either Trencher or Crab Crane from the deck. And you can use both of them to go into the rank 5 River Stormer. Detach whichever level 5 you summon from the deck and send from deck to grave whichever of the two I mentioned before that you didn't summon from the deck, so you have both Trencher and Crab Crane in the grave. Now you can banish Trencher from the grave to summon Crab Crane from grave in defense, and Crab Crane can banish the Harvester from grave for Outrigger extension. From here you can link off the River Stormer into Goliath and then use River Stormer in grave to tribute the Goliath to resummon itself, and then the Goliath will attach itself to the River Stormer as material. You can now use Outrigger extension to upgrade the River Stormer by 2 ranks and then go into Mountain Smasher. You could summon it in defense for its 3100 defense value, or you could summon it in attack with 2100 attack, but it can detach to permanently gain 1000 attack anyway. But make sure you don't attach the Goliath because we want to keep that destruction protection on it. So that Goliath protecting it from destruction and the Outrigger extension protecting it from targeting is a pretty strong turn 1, and you'll still have the Crab Crane on the field to soak up some attacks if you need it to. On the next turn, if you still have your Xyz on the field, you could rank it up again into Earth Slicer and detach a bunch of materials to destroy their cards to make going for game easier. And if your Xyz somehow died, then if you have any way to have an Infinitracks on the field, then you can turn it into another copy of Goliath, summon the Xyz from grave by tributing it, then the Goliath will attach itself to the Xyz, then you'll be able to upgrade it into an Earth Slicer that way. That's a pretty damn good bare minimum for the deck, but it can do better. This second combo isn't as strong as the last one, but it requires more cards. It kind of shows how important the Harvester is because this is pretty much the only combo that doesn't use Harvester in some way. So if you have Anchor Drill and any other level 5, you can normal summon the Anchor Drill, and it will special summon that level 5 from the hand. You can use Anchor Drill targeting that level 5 to make both of them level 9, and you can go into Earth Slicer, link it off into Goliath, bring back the Earth Slicer by tributing the Goliath, and then the Goliath will attach to the Earth Slicer, making it indestructible by card effects. This is the weakest combo of the deck, but it is something at least, but it can be upgraded if the level 5 you happen to summon from the hand with the Anchor Drill is Brutal Dozer. Since Brutal Dozer doesn't care how it was special summoned, as long as it's special summoned from the hand, so it can special summon Trencher from the deck. Then you can turn Brutal Dozer and Trencher into River Stormer, detach Trencher to send Crab Crane, banish Trencher to revive Crab Crane, then link River Stormer off into Goliath, and Crab Crane can banish Brutal Dozer to search Outrigger. Anchor can target Crab Crane to make them both level 9, and you can go into Earth Slicer. Then you can tribute the Goliath to summon River Stormer, and then Goliath will attach to the Earth Slicer, and you can use Outrigger to turn River Stormer into Mountain Smasher. You've basically ended on a very standard board, even if you had to go about it in a roundabout way. This combo is if you have both Harvester and Anchor Drill, and this could be including if you search for one of them using a Heavy Forward. You normal summon Anchor Drill and special summon Harvester. If you want to search for Brutal Dozer, you can then tribute Harvester to special summon Brutal Dozer. Use Brutal Dozer to summon Crab Crane or Trencher from the deck. Xyz summon into River Stormer, detach Crab Crane or Trencher to send the other one from deck to grave, then banish Trencher in grave to resummon Crab Crane. Crab Crane can banish Harvester to search Outrigger extension. We can activate that right away. Then we can use the Anchor Drill targeting Crab Crane to make them both level 9. Go into rank 9 Earth Slicer. If you're going a second, you can destroy cards with it, but regardless, you'll link it off into Goliath, tribute Goliath to resummon Earth Slicer. Goliath will attach to Earth Slicer, and if you're going first, you can use Outrigger to upgrade River Stormer into Mountain Smasher, and if you're going second, you can use it to upgrade Earth Slicer into Leeb. Going first on your follow-up turn, if you have the Earth Slicer on your field, by it still being there or by it reviving itself again, you can use the Outrigger to turn it into Leeb, which makes itself 6k and easily attacks for game. This final combo is pretty much the best combo in the deck, and it's not that hard to get with the Heavy Forwards, a searching ability. We need the Harvester, Anchor Drill, and and one out of these 3 level 5s. Brutal Dozer, Trencher, or Crab Crane. You normal summon the Anchor Drill, special summon Harvester, and Harvester gets to search. If you don't have Brutal Dozer, then search for Brutal Dozer. If you already have Brutal Dozer, then either search Trencher or Crab Crane. It's best to search for the Trencher though, just in case you need to play through interruptions. Next, you special summon either Trencher or Crab Crane by tributing the Harvester, then you special summon Brutal Dozer by tributing the level 5 you just summoned, and then Brutal Dozer will activate to summon Tunneler from the deck. Then you can use Brutal Dozer and Tunneler to make the rank 5 River Stormer, which can detach the Brutal Dozer to send either the Trencher or the Crab Crane from deck to grave, whichever one isn't already there. Then you can banish the Trencher from grave to revive Crab Crane. Crab Crane can banish Brutal Dozer from grave to search Outrigger extension, and we can activate that right away. Now we can use the Anchor Drill targeting Crab Crane to make them both level 9. Use both to go into Earth Slicer. If we are going second, then we can destroy their cards, but regardless, we can link it off into Goliath and bring it back by tributing the Goliath, and the Goliath will attach itself to it. Unfortunately, Goliath is once per turn, so we can't do it for the other Xyz, but that's alright. What we do next will depend on if we are going first or second. If you are going first, you may look at your River Stormer and think maybe you want to search with it again next turn. To be real with you though, you probably aren't going to need to search with it. Instead, you can use Outrigger extension to rank it up into the Mountain Smasher, then detach the Tunneler to have it gain 1000 attack permanently. Then you'll have the Tunneler in grave, and if you really need follow-up, then Tunneler can shuffle 5 machines from grave back into the deck and extra deck to draw 2 cards. And there's a good chance that one of the 2 cards you draw from it, or the card you draw for turn, is going to be a summonable monster that can let you go into Goliath to continue your plays that way. But if you're going second, then you'll prefer to use Outrigger extension on Earth Slicer to turn it into Juggernaut Leap. Easily go for game. In this deck, regardless of what version you're playing, there are so many consistency cards that it's really difficult to brick. That said, it's technically possible for you to brick, and what constitutes a brick in this deck is if you have no Harvester, no Heavy Forward, or an Anchor Drill without anything for it to summon from a hand. Any hand like that can't play, but like I said, it's pretty unlikely, so we can just take those L's now, and then move on to getting our next win streak. I've done my best to explain as much as I can about the deck in a way that feels natural, but if you are looking for some more knowledge about the Earth Machines overall, definitely join the Discord and talk to the Earth Machine experts in the Earth Machine channel. The link to the Discord is in the description, but I know what you guys are waiting for. Let's get right into these replays, shall we? Alright, so before we get into this first replay, I just want to say that the tutorials that we just got through, they're basically for giving you a basic understanding of the deck. They are pretty much all you need to play the deck. However, there are going to be situations where you will have options to do other things. So I tried my best with these replays to select replays where I do something slightly different to the standard, if not drastically different to the standard. So this first one, you know, I'm going against a balance control here, so, you know, 4 interruptions here. We got negate, bunch of back row right. I got the Book of Moon to turn off the Doom Caliber Knight though, so that's helpful. I got the Cosmic Cyclone to turn off one of his back row as well. It's an MST, which is pretty good against this deck because we want our Heavy Forward to resolve, right? So we're going to use that, get our Harvester. Normally this hand would be good, right? Because I got a, you know, Harvester, Anchor Drill, and a level 5. Unfortunately, it's not really level 5 I'm looking for. So, it's just the one level 5 that doesn't give us the best combo. But we got a Brutal Dozer with Switcheroo, so hey, that's awesome. Anyway, going to use the Anchor Drill here to summon the Harvester. He uses a Bottomless on it. This is actually what's so great about Anchor Drill. We get to still play because the Anchor Drill ate up the Bottomless for us. So yeah, we're going to search here for the Crab Crane, tribute the Crab Crane, get rid of that Harvester real quick to get our Outrigger extension. Then we can use a Brutal Dozer, get rid of that Crab Crane, summon itself, and then we can summon the Trencher. Fantastic. Activate that Outrigger, go right into River Stormer. River Stormer is going to be able to search for a follow-up play here. Hell yeah. So another thing you can do with the River Stormer. Then we can link that off into the Goliath. Of course, before doing anything else, River Stormer can bring itself back by tributing that Goliath. Goliath can put itself as material. You can rank up and give itself a new material with a Heavy Forward. And we go into the Mountain Smasher, untargetable, indestructible, detach another material as well to make it bigger, and attack in. He's got a Mirror Force, but we're indestructible, bro. We're indestructible. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Anyway, your turn, bro. I also steal his thing and make it my material. Isn't that busted? And it's his turn. He only has 1 card. I'm untargetable. I'm indestructible. Control decks hate him, and it's GG's. Okay, so I'm going first here against Raidraptors. What a fantastic hand we got here. We got the best hand of all time. So the Heavy Forward is going to get us the Crab Crane. Crab Crane is pretty much the most important level 5. Other than Brutal Dozer, I guess, but Anchor Drill is going to summon the Harvester here. Harvester is going to get us that Brutal Dozer, because we didn't have it yet. Crab Crane's going to summon itself, get rid of that Harvester as well to get us the Outrigger extension. Oh, no, I'm not doing that yet. I'm doing it later. Yes, that's right. I'm summoning the Brutal Dozer, which is going to summon the Trencher. So I have basically everything I need to resummon the Crab Crane. So I'm going to go into the Earth Slicer by converting these two into 9s. Then by, you know, turning them into a Link 1, the materials do go to the grave. So the Trencher is now going to be able to bring back the Crab Crane. Hell yeah. Crab Crane's going to banish the Anchor Drill to search the Outrigger extension. And I can make a rank 5. Ooh, that's a follow-up play I smell, bro. So we're going to search that follow-up play, detaching, get that Harvester real quick. So this is if you know, alternative way to get a follow-up play. Bring back the Earth Slicer, attach the thing. Gonna, you know, boost it up, make a Mountain Smasher. Heavy forward is also gonna go on the thing here. And look at this field. Look at this field. This guy's untargetable and indestructible. This guy is destructible, but he's still untargetable. We also got a Book of Moon to interrupt him. Not a bad field. We also have a follow-up play. It's pretty good. So his turn. He just scoops it up. I mean, goddamn, how do you beat that field, bro? How the hell do you beat that field? He was probably watching the combo, and then he saw me set a card, and he was like, alright, I need this top deck to be the goddamn nuts. And I guess it wasn't the nuts. So that's GG's. Alright, so this guy is playing Magician's Magic, Dark Magician, otherwise known as the inferior version of Dark Magician. If you want to play Giga Chat Dark Magician, check out the Dark Magician video we just posted last week, bro. Go ahead, watch it. It's fantastic. It's the best you ever seen of Dark Magician. But anyway, he's going to be able to go into his fusion play pretty good. It does pose somewhat of a threat to us because our main form of removal is destruction, but it's fine. We got combo here, we got heavy forward to search for the Anchor Drill, and we got a Harvester, so hell yeah. Gonna summon... Oh yeah, he's also gonna draw a card, but lucky us, he draws a monster. Must be nice. Anyway, the Anchor Drill is gonna summon the Harvester. Harvester is going to search for a Crab Crane. Hell yeah. Because we do need that Crab Crane. Crab Crane's gonna tribute the Harvester, banish that Harvester as well, to get us a Outrigger extension so we can't target us with anything. Anchor Drill is going to target this. We're going to go into the Earth Slicer as well. And we can use the Outrigger extension to make us untargetable. Heavy forward can make itself a material. Detach the heavy forward to destroy him. He's going to summon 2 more things. But we're still going to destroy them this turn. So he's not going to have anything by the end of the turn at least. So we're going to go into the Super Dreadnought, Rail Cannon, Juggernaut Leap, set a couple of back row and attack into both of them. Goodbye to your field. Anyway, he's going to activate a circle and we're going to Cosmic that boy. We don't care about the Cosmic's banishment, bro. We care about the search. So we're just going to get rid of it. Because he can't target us, remember? Anyway, so he activates Pot of D. Pot of D, which actually prevents him from using Apprentice. It prevents him from fusion summoning. So he's like nerfing himself, you know what I mean? But he still gets to normal summon Dark Magician, and he's attacking into us. We gotta know he's got an Apprentice if he's attacking into us. So we're gonna have to Book of Moon him here. That's alright though. Look at that, we got a Harvester in hand. We got no worries in life. And we top deck a heavy forward? Come on, bro! Anyway, we get our second Anchor Drill, summon that. Special summon the Harvester. Get ourselves a search going. Get our Tunneler to help, you know, shuffle some stuff back. Tunneler is going to tribute the Anchor Drill. Doesn't even matter, bro. At this point, I'm just trying to get a Goliath out. And I'm going to detach the Slicer from the lead to make him 6k. Earth Slicer is going to tribute the Goliath to bring himself back. Goliath's going to attach himself. The Heavy Forward is going to attach to the Earth Slicer. I'll detach that Heavy Forward to destroy his last remaining card. And I'll attack him for 6k. Team 6k. So as you can see in the replays, the combo tutorials are really more of a guideline for what you can do, because the deck really does give you a lot of options that you can play around with. The main thing that these options provide is a way to keep playing after being interrupted. This deck, both pure and in Earth Machine forms, is doing really well competitively, and I wouldn't be surprised if this deck ends up joining the meta. The only issue being that the new support card, Brutal Dozer, is a selection box exclusive, so it's going to be more difficult for everybody to access this card. There's a chance that lower representation ends up hurting this deck's position in the meta. meta. But truly, I think this deck deserves to be seen as a meta contender. Yeah, guys, let us know how you feel about the deck. If you have any questions about the deck in general or how it operates, be sure to leave them in the comments and we can talk about it. If you like the video, then slap like now, subscribe if you haven't already, hit that bell to get notified every time I make a new video. Have yourselves a good one, guys, and I've been Undead from Team 6K, signing out.
Hey, why they gotta hate on me? I done got me 250,000 views and they still saying they low key. They ain't wanna come work with the kid, but I'm flexing with Zay on beats. How they ask for a spot at the gym, but they leave all the weight on me. I don't ask them to wait on me. They would ask where they gon' be with a song if they wanted the weatherman. I ain't ask them to pay no fees. She was homeless and needed a spot. I ain't ask her to pay no lease. I ain't ask her to say no please. I ain't ask her to make no cheese. Scream fake, but it ain't on me. Got clean, so it ain't no streets. Why green if it ain't no keeps? Brought cream, so it ain't no beef. My team say it ain't no chief. My demon, they hang on me. They seemingly ain't no peace. I seen him, he ain't no beast. For real.